Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how I made some canisters which we'll be attaching to the back of the chest piece later on in the build. Without any further delay, let's get started. So, got another template thrown together here. I used it to cut out some pieces in EVA foam. Then I took them to my belt sander and my Dremel that I have outside and sanded them down a little bit just so they're a tiny bit smoother. They don't have to be perfect. I also found this. I used it to trace out some circles. Again, not perfect circles, but did the same thing. Sanded them down a bit so they're a little bit smoother. Especially these ones aren't super necessary to have really perfect because they're going to be covered by some craft foam here in a little bit. For lack of a better option, I had to use a highlighter to make the markings on some 5mm craft foam that we're going to be using to cover up our circles. So we'll go ahead and cut this out. We'll just do it once and then we'll use that as a template to do the same thing just a couple inches over here. So roughly about the same size there. We'll go ahead and heat these both up. The purpose for the spheres, or excuse me, the circles here, is to give the inside of the foam some rigidity. That way it doesn't just collapse in on itself. So it looks something like that when it's finished. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start gluing the EVA foam circles into the craft foam here and see if we can create little canisters. So next I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the seams and seal those up. I'm going to do that before I put in this bottom piece, only because I don't want to put that in then start sealing the seams and then they come together at a weird pinch point somewhere in the middle or the top of it. I'd rather it be uniform all the way down and then the bottom piece either looks a little strange or fills in nice and neat, which ideally it'll fill in nice and neat. I'm not actually going to use 3 of these little disc pieces for the canisters, only because I'm going to have a crazy difficult time trying to get this one in there, and these will hold up just fine. They don't have to be anything indestructible because they're going to be in the back of the chest piece anyways. So I think what I'll do for this last piece, the tension that's already present at the end of this is going to be enough to hold it in place as it is. So what I'll probably do is just work it into the other portion of this cylinder here, and then I'll just put a ring of glue around the outside edge of it, and I'll end up sanding it down at some point anyways as well to kind of clean up the seam a bit. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom here. And there we are. It's not completely uniform. It kind of bows in a little bit in the midsection here between the 2 cylinders. That's alright because, again, we'll be able to sand this down, clean it up a bit, and then we'll also be putting on just some additional details either on this or around the back of the chest piece that'll kind of distract you from noticing that it's a little uneven there. I like how this turned out. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more as well as sand it down so it's a little bit smoother looking across the board, and I'll go ahead and start doing the same thing for this next piece, make the same canister, and then we'll attach both of those to the back of the chest piece. Alright, so while the canisters are finished drying from the hot glue, we're going to go ahead and glue down the brackets that'll hold them in place on the chest piece in the back here. We have the brackets glued into place now, and we'll be able to attach the canisters to those just fine, and they'll stay mounted on the back just like that. What we're gonna do next is a whole lot of sanding on the chest piece, whole lot of sanding on the canisters, as well as maybe some reshaping with the heat gun, just to kind of get them into a more uniform kind of shape. Adding some details onto the back of the chest piece and on the front as well. And we're not going to quite attach the canisters just yet. I want to get that detail work put in before we put these on top. That way, if you look at the back, and you can see the extra details put in on there. So, last but not least, for the chest portion of this build is going to be putting on the details, the sanding details, and fixing up some of these seam areas that we have. Thanks for watching the video, everyone. I have a feeling we're going to be doing a lot of sanding to correct some errors that we've made along the way, as well as put in some extra details on the armor pieces. With that being said, let's call the chest piece finished for now, and we'll move on to the shoulder pieces in the next video. Last but not least, everyone, be safe, be careful, and I'll see you in the next video.